Let me start with a small story. A few months ago, I was out with a friend who suddenly realized he has misplaced his spectacles. Normally, that would mean a trip to the local optician, waiting for a couple days, and spending quite a bit of money. But what did he do instead? He opened an app, scrolled through frames, booked an eye test at home, and within no time, he had a new pair delivered. That moment made me pause and think, when did eyewear become so convenient and so cool in India? Do you remember the last time you saw someone wear glasses and thought, hey, that looks stylish? That's the change we are living through. Eyewear in India has moved from being a dull necessity to a fashion accessory and a lifestyle choice. And the company that has driven this change more than anyone else is Lenskart. And now, Lenskart is going public. Yes, the same company whose quirky ads you have seen everywhere, the same brand that has stores in every major city, the same app that lets you try glasses virtually. One of India's most recognizable consumer brands is finally going to list on the stock market. This IPO feels different because usually with consumer tech IPOs in India, there's skepticism. People say great app, big growth, lots of customers, but what about profits? What about sustainability? Is this just another bubble? But with Lenskart, the story has shifted. The buzz is about how they turned the business around, how they built a model that actually works in India, and how they are quietly building a global presence as well. And the timing makes it even more interesting. We have already seen multiple startups test the IPO waters. Some of them got hammered after listing because the numbers could not justify the story. But Lenskart is being watched closely because it seems to have a stronger case. And that is why this IPO is one of the most anticipated consumer tech listings in recent memory. To understand why this IPO has so much weight behind it, we need to rewind. In its early years, Lenskart was like most startups. The focus was just growth, growth, growth. Spend aggressively, burn cash, give discounts, and attract as many customers as possible. The idea was simple, to capture market share at any cost. And yes, it worked in the short term. People came because eyewear was suddenly cheaper online, but that kind of model is just not sustainable. The interesting part is what happened later. Unlike many startups that got stuck in that endless burn cycle, Lenskart managed to pull itself out. If you look at the financials between FY21 and 24, you will see the story play out clearly. In FY21, they reported losses of around 283 crore rupees. By FY23, those losses had narrowed sharply to about 64 crore rupees. And by FY24, they were finally in the green. That is a massive turnaround in just 3 years. So what changed for them? First, they moved away from being over-dependent on discounts. In the beginning, customers were there for cheaper glasses. But loyalty that is built only on price rarely lasts. Instead, Lenskart started focusing on unit economics. The goal was clear: make every transaction healthy and make sure the margins are positive. The real game changer was the Bhiwadi manufacturing plant. This facility became the beating heart of their business. They started producing lenses and frames in-house. They increased gross margins, reduced outstanding costs, and gained much tighter control over quality. Now see, most eyewear manufacturing plants, including big global giants who make products for brands such as Ray-Ban, Oakley, Dior, Fendi, Marc Jacobs, etc., produce between 5 lakh to 2 crore units annually. But Lenskart's Bhiwadi facility in India is among the world's largest, with a capacity to manufacture up to 5 crore glasses each year, which far surpasses typical industry output and gives Lenskart a major advantage in scale and cost. But financial discipline alone is not the full story. The other breakthrough was the model they built. See, eyewear is not a quick impulse purchase. You want to know if the frame fits your face, if the quality feels right, and if the prescription is accurate. So Lenskart built what became their backbone, an omni-channel strategy. Customers could discover frames online and get the convenience of browsing endless options. But at the same time, they could walk into one of the 1500 plus stores across India to try them out physically. This playbook was not invented here. In the US, Warby Parker had pioneered the same approach. They started online and then realized eyewear needed offline touchpoints. In India, CaratLane did something very similar with jewelry. Launched online but introduced offline for the touch and feel element. But the real genius of Lenskart was in localizing it for the Indian consumer. Here, price sensitivity is higher and building trust takes time. So the physical stores became essential. On top of that, they added technology. They have augmented reality try-ons, home tests, and even AI-driven recommendations. If you ever visited a store, you could still interact with the brand in a personal and immersive way. And this mix of digital and physical Global inspiration and local adaptation became Lenskart's true identity. So, what did this hybrid model actually deliver? First, repeat purchases went up. Once a customer experienced the loop of browsing online, checking frames offline, and then ordering again, they stuck with the brand. Secondly, Tier 2 and Tier 3 markets opened up. In places like Lucknow or Coimbatore, people were hesitant to buy eyewear online. But once a store arrived in the city, once they could take an eye test and physically try frames, that hesitation disappeared. The omni-channel strategy broke the barrier that kept smaller towns out of the online eyewear market. Next, the customer acquisition costs came down. A digital-only brand has to spend endlessly on ads to stay visible. Lenskart stores themselves became billboards. Just seeing a Lenskart outlet on a busy street built trust instantly. Now that with online discovery pulling people into the funnel, and suddenly the cost of acquiring a new customer dropped significantly. And then came the tech, augmented reality try-ons, virtual recommendations, cross-selling products, and eye tests at your doorstep. All of this kept the experience richer, more interactive, and kept customers engaged. The single biggest reason this clicked was balance. Lenskart found the sweet spot between offline trust and online scale. And that gave them an edge over pure offline opticians and pure online players alike. Naturally, once the model worked in India, Piyush Bansal started wondering, could this work globally? And that is when Lenskart started looking outward. They entered the Middle East, Singapore, and began testing markets in the US and Europe. But the move that really caught eyeballs was acquiring a major stake in Owndays, a large global eyewear retailer. Overnight, this deal added over 460 stores across 13 Asian markets. With one store, Lenskart became one of the largest eyewear retailers in the world. We've seen Indian startups like Byju's trying to expand internationally through acquisitions. Many of those integrations failed because they were chasing size without alignment. But Lenskart did it differently. They picked a brand that complemented their strengths and integrated it carefully. This careful approach avoided the pitfalls of overexpansion. And that is why the Owndays deal is seen as a success story. Overnight, Lenskart went from being a strong Indian brand to a global player with serious scale. And importantly, they did it without losing focus on profitability and operational discipline. So with all this context, the natural question is, what happens after the IPO? Where will the fresh funds go? The company has already outlined a clear plan. They want to double down on what has worked and scale it further. That means deeper pushes into international markets. This will strengthen their manufacturing base even more, and they will be able to build more advanced tech into customer experience. The Bhiwadi facility, which is already a game changer, is being expanded with robotic lens production. Current capacity is around 5 crore lenses and frames together in 1 year. They are also expanding with a new manufacturing plant in Hyderabad, expected to be 10 times larger than the Bhiwadi facility. On the customer side, AI will play a bigger role. The idea is to make buying process faster, more personal, and more fun. On the business side, the doors remain open for acquisitions in new markets if the right opportunity comes along. In short, the IPO money is about scaling what is already proven and pushing Lenskart into the next orbit of growth. What business lessons can one learn? If we zoom out from the specifics, there are quite a few big lessons in the Lenskart journey. First is customer-centric innovation. Everything they did, from home trials to eye tests to AR try-ons, was built around solving a customer pain point. The next is balance. Growth matters, but growth without profitability does not last. And they made sure to maintain that profitability. The third is around acquisitions. Buying companies is easy. Integrating them well is the hard part. Lenskart showed that if you pick complementary brands and integrate cautiously, acquisitions can accelerate scale instead of becoming distractions. And finally, omni-channel is not optional in today's consumer tech. Customers want both convenience and trust. If you are only online, you miss one side, and if you're only offline, you miss the other. The brands that survive are the ones that can blend both. So why does this IPO matter so much beyond just Lenskart? The answer is that it represents consumer tech 2.0 in India. The first wave of startups focused only on chasing valuations. The second wave is about building profitable, sustainable business. If this IPO performs well, it will give confidence to other companies that profitability-backed startups can succeed in public markets. It will encourage investors to back more consumer brands that are disciplined yet ambitious. It will set an example for founders across the ecosystem. For investors, it is a chance to back India's leading eyewear company as it enters a global growth phase. For founders and entrepreneurs, it becomes a playbook a case study in how you can evolve from high burn to a sustainable scale, how you can localize global strategies for India, and how you can expand internationally without losing focus. That is why this IPO feels bigger than just one company. It feels like the ecosystem itself is taking a step forward. So that is the story of Lenskart's IPO. What started as a high-burn startup has now matured into a profitable consumer tech leader. The company not only changed how Indians look at eyewear, but also built itself into one of the world's largest players in the space. It shows us that growth at any cost doesn't last forever. That's all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe. It really helps us with the algorithm and it keeps our team very motivated. Thank you for watching. I will see you next week. Ciao for now.